Alright folks, welcome back to the channel. Feels great to be here with you again, especially after taking a wee day off yesterday. Needed that little breather to recharge the batteries after what was a pretty mental week full of transfer rumors, speculations, and all sorts of chatter around Celtic. And you can bet this week is shaping up to be no different. So let's not waste any more time and dive straight into it, because there's plenty for us to get through, especially with everything that unfolded just last night. First things first though, if you haven't already, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Honestly, it helps a lot and it keeps me motivated to keep pumping out these updates for you all. We're on the road to 60,000 subscribers now, and that's just mad when you think about it. Let's keep that momentum going. As I said earlier, I'm heading off on holiday tomorrow, jetting away to sunny Santa Ponca, but don't worry, I'll still be checking in as often as I can. I'll try to bring you videos and updates in between, enjoying the sun and maybe a pint or two. If there's a bit of a gap between uploads, just know it's because I'm lying somewhere, with the sun beating down on me exactly as it should be. Now let's get into the Celtic news, because there's a fair bit to unpack. Let's start with the Benjamin Nygren situation. What a story this has turned out to be over the past week. We spoke about him quite a bit here on the channel recently, especially after Celtic made that official approach to his representatives to explore the possibility of bringing him in during this summer transfer window. The last thing we discussed was that up until then, Celtic hadn't actually started talks with his club FC Nygren about a transfer fee. Well, that's all changed now. Last night brought a big development. Reports came out confirming that discussions between Celtic and Nygren are officially underway. That's right, the two clubs are now deep in negotiations to settle on a fee for the player. According to sources, initial conversations have gone really well. It's believed that reaching an agreement on the price won't be a major hurdle. Celtic could end up paying somewhere in the region of £2 million, which, let's be honest, would represent a bit of a bargain for a player of Nygren's quality. Just to put it into perspective, Nygren is 23 years old and he's only got 6 months left on his current contract with Nygren. That puts Celtic in a very strong negotiating position. And from everything being said, it sounds like it's just a matter of time before this deal crosses the line. The article that broke the news last night made it clear that while nothing has been finalized just yet, all signs point towards Nygren joining Kalamota as one of Celtic's first signings of this summer window. Speaking of the transfer window, it's officially open now, and it's great to see the club moving quickly to get quality players through the door. That's exactly what Nygren is. If you've been following the channel over the past week, you'll have heard me talk about him at length. We've gone through his stats, his playing style, and what he could bring to this Celtic side. I'm genuinely buzzing about this signing. To potentially land a player of his caliber for less than £2 million is just brilliant business. Credit where it's due, the recruitment team has clearly done their homework on this one. If everything continues to progress as expected, we could see him in a Celtic shirt very soon. There's hope that he'll be over for a medical at Ross Hall before the end of the week. If that all goes to plan, we might even get those first pictures of him holding up the shirt by Friday. Worst case, I'd say early next week, maybe Monday or Tuesday, we'll get the official announcement. Fingers crossed we can get it wrapped up quickly, because it would be a fantastic way to kick off the summer business. But as always with Celtic, the transfer activity doesn't stop there. There's plenty more work to do before the window shuts. And Nygren definitely won't be the only new face coming in over the next few weeks. The links are coming thick and fast now. And one of the most surprising stories emerged just last night. This one caught everyone a bit off guard. According to reports, Celtic are now working on a move for a Japanese defender, Hayato Inamura, who currently plays for Albirex Niigata in the J League. This news came out of nowhere, really. The report, which seems to be from a very reliable source when it comes to Celtic transfers, suggests that the club has identified Inamura as a target to bolster the defensive options. Inamura is 23 years old and plays primarily as a left-sided center-back, though he can also provide cover at left back if needed. Now, I won't lie, this is a name that hadn't been on anyone's radar up until now. It's one of those moves that feels like it's come straight out of left field. Understandably, it's left a lot of fans scratching their heads and wondering what exactly the thinking is behind this one. Let's just be honest here for a second. On the surface, this isn't the kind of signing that screams first team ready or immediate starter. The lad stands at 5'11" and plays for a side currently sitting in the relegation zone of the Japanese top flight. He only turned professional last July after making the jump from university football, so when you look at his profile, It's not exactly the standout center half that many of us were hoping Celtic would target this summer. And when you dive into the statistics, it doesn't get much more reassuring. His numbers aren't setting the world alight. He's not standing out in key defensive metrics like tackles per game, aerial duels won, or interceptions you'd expect someone playing in a struggling team to be posting some pretty hefty defensive action numbers, just by virtue of being under pressure most games, but that's not really the case here. For comparison, his numbers seem to align more with the likes of Liam Scales, where the standout stats are more about possession touches in the defensive third and passing accuracy rather than pure defensive dominance. That's not to say he's a bad player, far from it. There's obviously something there if Celtic are looking at him seriously, but I think it's fair to approach this one with a degree of skepticism. We've seen Celtic dip into the Japanese market with great success in recent years. Players like Kyogo Furuhashi, Ryo Haddad, and Daisen Maeda have come in and become fan favorites almost overnight. But for every success story, there have been one or two signings that haven't quite worked out. Names like Yuki Kobayashi and Yosuke Deguchi come to mind. So naturally, the fanbase is going to be cautious when a relatively unknown player from Japan gets linked. Now, from what's being said in Japan, Inamura has been tagged as something of a rising star. So maybe there's untapped potential there. Maybe Celtic's scouting department sees qualities that aren't showing up in the raw stats just yet. Maybe with the right coaching and the right environment, he could develop into a decent squad option. But again, I think the key word here is option. This doesn't feel like the marquee defensive signing that most fans were hoping for. If this deal does happen, I'd expect Inamura to come in more as a backup, someone who could provide cover at center back or even at left back if needed. Not someone who walks straight into the starting 11 to partner Cameron Carter-Vickers at the heart of the defense. Let's not sugarcoat it, Celtic still need to bring in a Topolvel center half this summer. Someone with real presence and experience. This feels more like a depth signing. So while I'd urge fans not to dismiss the signing altogether, I also wouldn't be getting overly excited just yet. Let's wait and see how it plays out. The reports coming out overnight suggest that talks are ongoing, but there's no guarantee that this will get over the line. Still, when the source is someone with a track record of breaking legitimate Celtic transfer news, you've got to take it seriously enough to keep an eye on. And listen, I get it. Some fans are understandably concerned. The last thing we want is another project signing who ends up not making the grade. But let's give the lad a chance should the move happen. If Celtic do pull the trigger on this one, it'll likely be with the hope of developing him over time. Maybe integrating him slowly into the squad. Alright, before we wrap up this section, let's quickly touch on another developing story regarding potential outgoings. Greg Taylor's future remains up in the air. Over the weekend, fresh reports started doing the rounds suggesting that his proposed move to PAOK isn't done and dusted just yet. In fact, there's now another club in the mix. FC Copenhagen. That's right, the Danish Giants have apparently entered the race for Taylor's signature. This has definitely thrown a bit of a spanner in the works. From all accounts, it seemed like Taylor was nailed on to make the move to PAOK last week, with reports suggesting a deal was close to completion. But with Copenhagen now showing serious interest, Taylor has a big decision to make. And you can't blame him for taking time to weigh up his options. Copenhagen offers the allure of Champions League football, and they're one of the biggest clubs in Denmark. That's a huge draw for any player, especially someone like Taylor, who'll want to continue playing at a high level. So whether it ends up being PAOK or Copenhagen or even another surprise suitor, it's clear that Taylor's time at Celtic is coming to an end. And honestly, from a Celtic perspective, it's not something that should cause too much stress. He's been a solid servant for the club, but if he's moving on, then so be it. It's part of football. The main thing now is ensuring Celtic get a decent fee for him and then reinvest appropriately. There's still more to get through, including a huge bit of news surrounding Nicholas Kuhn and growing interest from Bundesliga sides, including a potential bid from RB Leipzig. Before we proceed, subscribe to our channel and enable notifications to receive all exclusive news about Celtic FC. Don't miss any details about your favorite team. It's extremely important for Celtic FC fans. In what could become one of the most surprising transfer stories of the summer, whispers are growing louder around a potential loan deal involving Real Madrid's Brazilian prodigy Endrick and Scottish champion Celtic FC, while nothing has been confirmed by either club. Sources close to both camps suggest that conversations have taken place regarding the possibility of a short-term move to Glasgow. Once the teenager officially joins Los Blancos in July, Endrick, who recently turned 18, is widely regarded as one of the brightest talents in world football. Having dazzled in the Brazilian league with Palmeiras and already impressing on the international stage with the Celtic, his impending arrival in Madrid has stirred massive excitement among fans. However, with fierce competition for places in the Real Madrid attacking lineup, including the likes of Vinicius Jr., Rodrigo, and the newly signed Kylian Mbappe, speculation is mounting that Endrick might benefit from immediate game time elsewhere. That's where Celtic comes into the picture. Known for nurturing young talent and offering consistent minutes in a competitive environment, the Scottish side could provide the ideal stage for Endrick's European debut. The Glasgow Giants are set to defend their Scottish Premiership crown and participate in the UEFA Champions League group stage, offering both high-level exposure and a chance to grow away from the intense spotlight of the Bernabeu. Some insiders claim that Real Madrid sees Celtic's style of play and dominant domestic presence as a perfect fit to ease Endrick's transition into European football. While the move may seem unconventional at first glance, it wouldn't be the first time Real has used strategic loans to develop young stars. Think of Martin Degaard's time in the Netherlands and Spain before returning as a more complete player. There's also a practical side to the rumor: Celtic's recent track record with loanees and their positive relationship with big clubs could make negotiations smoother. Yet, there are still questions around whether Endrick would be open to such a move, and whether Celtic could guarantee the kind of development environment Real Madrid expects for their future gem. For now, it remains just a rumor, but in the world of football, where possibilities shift quickly, don't be surprised if Endrick is spotted in green and white hoops next season. Hello, fan! Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as it means a lot to Celtic FC. Also, share your opinion about the news in the comments below. See you in the next video.